everybody to the 10 and 10 podcast today. I am Rachel Martin, your host for today, and we have Tova Adelman. I said that right?
Yeah, you did.
Yay! With us today. And you have such an incredible story. I'm reading kind of a little bio, and I said, this is a lot of words. Entrepreneur, business leader, consultant, performance coach, product, marketing expert. And then you corrected me. You're like, that's who I was. That is not who I am now, in a sense. Yes, you have that background, but you have transitioned and had this, amazing career in marketing and consulting, Fortune 500 companies, Accenture, Gap, all these incredible things. And you were living kind of like a 80-hour work week, so not 9 to 5, but 9 to 5 job and not having a personal life. And you had this switch that happened, and yes, you're all these incredible words and incredible things, but that's not who you wanted to be anymore. And so you decided to kind of go into this new direction to help other people along the way, correct?
Yes,
Tell me
absolutely.
a little bit more about that.
Well, I think like everyone who goes to college, I was very type A. I need to go get a job and work. And I fell into that work hard, play hard 80s. I graduated college in the late 80s. And that
we don't talk age here. It's okay.
That's okay. But that was the mentality. Mm-hmm. And so I fell into it. I was proud of it. I made myself invaluable numerous times to either the partners in my firm or my client leaders or my, whoever I worked for at a C level. And then I realized each time maybe there was a change in the organization, like I wasn't as invaluable to them as I thought I'd made myself to be. Mm-hmm. Or when you stop working somewhere, you're no longer other than when, like, I worked with a company that went public and I had stock options and all that great stuff, but that still wasn't the windfall, mm-hmm. right? And so I did that for years and years and years. I lived overseas a couple times on projects, and wow. They actually taught me more about work-life balance than anyone in the U.S. ever had.
Because they made you take breaks.
Yeah. When I got to Australia and we got off work at 5 o'clock, I turned to everyone and said, what do we do with our time?
5 o'clock, I love it. Yeah.
I'm like, go to the store because the stores close at 6, and you can go for a bike ride or go dancing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do with myself.
Right.
So coming back from all that, I pivoted a couple times. I went to work for startups and thought that would give me more control. And it wasn't until I got laid off on maternity leave. Oh. I had my daughter. I was a late blooming mama because of that. Mm-hmm. I had my daughter almost at 42 years old.
Wow. I still have hope. No, I'm kidding.
You do. Everybody does. Of course, they called me it's a geriatric pregnancy. I said no.
Such a bad word.
I was a cougar mom. Sorry.
A cougar mom.
So what I learned, though, once that happened was I didn't have a medium speed. Mm-hmm. It was 0 or 80 or 0 or 90. Mm-hmm. And you can't be a mom like that. I also learned, like, as parents age, that sandwich generation thing, like you need to enjoy the precious moments along the way.
You do.
So took a year with her, and then I hung a shingle out to do some tech consulting part-time, but quickly learned as soon as I picked up a client, they wanted me full-time and more than full-time. I'm like, I got to go pick up my daughter from daycare. Can't be here past 6.
Yeah.
So I started exploring other alternatives.
Okay.
So there's the people who have go start your own brick and mortar business. I'm like, that's the answer. And I looked at one, and I was going to buy it from a woman, and she's like, well, if you work it yourself, you can make $18,000 a year, like net.
Okay.
I'm like, well, that's not the answer, and I'll be...
Can you add extra zero at least on that?
Exactly, and I'll be tied to that all the time. I won't have the freedom.
Yeah.
So I actually called my aunt. She was with a company she'd introduced me to years before. It's a 40-year-old company now, and I said, what is going on with that? And she told me, and I said, I'm going to give it a try. It uses all those things in my background, like product marketing and client management and team leadership and all those things. And what I realized is it gave me the opportunity to build my own book of business, set my own hours, which there's a double-edged sword to that, by the way.
I was going to say, yes, there definitely is.
And because then I could, instead of making really wealthy VCs or really wealthy C-level executives who are already overpaid wealthier, I was going to get to secure my own financial future and help other people that wouldn't otherwise be able to do so. So either whether they wanted to work with me full-time or part-time, because in a 9 to 5 or 9 to 10 job, whatever the case may be, you don't get a raise unless someone gives you a raise.
Yeah.
And unless the company is exceeding targets.
Yeah.
Raises at Gap Inc., I worked on their system where they do all the raises and performance evaluations. People got like a 3% raise, or, sometimes it translated to 25 cents an hour, kind of raise. That's not enough.
No.
So I can help people add significant income or just enough to give them that extra padding. And I can do it around my own schedule.
Yeah.
So I've gotten to be there through all the precious moments, volunteer in the classroom, do the yearbook, go on this field trips, be there with my mom. She had Alzheimer's. I was there her last year every day or every other day. And I was there when my brother, who runs his own company, his own legal firm, couldn't be there.
Okay.
So it really has given me a lot of flexibility, and I've been able to help other people as well.
That's amazing. Well, and so many people, I think, when they're getting into having their own company, they forget about that part that is up to you. So they get so overwhelmed, and then they work the 80-hour weeks, even though it's your own company. And I think you approached this so well. I don't know if it was going over to other countries and experiencing it, but yes, I want to succeed myself for myself and help other people along the way. But I also want to have that family time. And I think that's a hard thing for people to. I have it with a friend of mine, and he's still at his computer until 8 o'clock at night, but his kids went to bed a half hour ago. You own this company. Why are you doing this to yourself? So do you use that experience and to coach other people to not necessarily coach them in what they should and shouldn't do,
Right.
but along the lines of what is best for you as a person?
Well, I think, yes, I do. And there's two things that I would say to people who are looking at it. One is there's return on time and return on money investment, right?
Yeah.
So what I do didn't take a big capital investment, which, again, another double-edged sword, because there's a little bit of skin in the game. My skin in the game is really my time more than money. So people who go start a big, get a bank loan, do all that,
Report to other people.
they feel like they have to do it, and it moves them.
Okay.
With mine, people have to be self-starters, and I have to gently coach them. I have to be really in touch with why they're doing this or why I'm doing it on a daily basis. And that's where, in corporate world, sometimes they do lead learning and development. When you're working for yourself, you have to do that yourself. So you have to read something like Let Them, which is all the rage with Mel Robbins right now, or Atomic Habits, right?
Yeah.
Those kind of things, or even Malcolm Gladwell's Tipping Point was something really early on that clued me in.
Yeah.
But what I have to do now is be in touch with why they're working with me, give them short-term targets or assignments, and if they fall short, it's not a problem. It's their choice.
Right.
So I have to hold the vision and help them recalibrate. So it's taken a lot to learn how to work on my own and work with other people who are also making this a choice, and they're not handcuffed to it, right?
Right. Well, and that's, I think, a difference too. When you have your own company, it's like a choice. That's up to you. It's you can jaywalk, but should you jaywalk? No, but that's a choice. You're not going to probably get in trouble. Maybe you will now, but it's not, but it's just one of those things that you can choose this path, but you don't have to, and nobody's going to get angry with you because that's up to you. It's your success. It's your failure. And so that's a hard thing to coach.
It's a very hard thing to coach. And I also think it's just like when people need to go network, right? It's also helping people read the room or discern where to spend your time, because that's the biggest investment, right?
Yeah.
And action is the key for everything. Being in action creates, you might be in action over here, it's that it might come from somewhere else. The results are going to come from somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I like watching things unfold for other people and how it unfolds for me. The more action I'm in, may not come from this relationship or the connections I'm helping people create. It might come from over here.
Okay.
And that's pretty cool too.
I like it. Well, what are you hoping for next in your evolution, or even your clients kind of, you can always talk about the success story and somebody who was super, meaningful to you, but what do you hope for?
Well, more of what I've done, I hope for that.
Okay.
So that doesn't sound very specific. So let me get specific. I have people who've been able to put a down payment on a house. They both have full-time jobs and they work in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, doing well, but lots of people have full-time jobs doing well and they can't afford things.
Yeah.
So by carving a little bit of time working with me, they were able to go buy their first condo. It was a young couple.
Yeah.
I myself, as I mentioned, I was able to take all the time I needed to be with my mom as she was declining.
Mm-hmm.
I think the key thing is it's about taking the next step. And the more people I get started with, the more I'll be able to help them make an impact in their own community and people in their lives.
Knowing you're never done and settled.
Yeah. And having fun along the way is really key, because I've enjoyed my life. And my daughter's about to graduate high school.
Oh my goodness.
So then people can do the math. And so then it's what's next? What am I gonna do next? I'm gonna have a lot more time and a lot more energy. Right.
You're almost on to the next phase of the excitement.
Yeah. And so I want to work with more people. That's it.
That's amazing. Cool. Well, thank you so much for being with us here today. You have such an incredible story, so many amazing things. You're helping a community that almost doesn't even feel like they need help sometimes, but I don't think they could survive without people like you in their lives. Yep. So thank you so much for doing
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, everybody, for joining the 10 and 10 podcast today. We will check you out next time.